Witness the problem. Driving my mother's car today, and great running little car, but we got some things missing. We got tachometer, but no speedo, no speed indication, and also, kind of frustratingly, no temperature gauge and no fuel gauge. For a long time all of this was dim, but now it is out. And I'm trying to video this in traffic, you know, perfectly safe thing to do, perfectly sensible. But yeah, we have absolutely no speedo indication, no temperature indication, don't know what temperature we're running at, and we have no fuel gauge, which is not really a preferred way to motivate. Totally dark, except for turn signal and hazard. (2008) Honda Civic. Still a very popular car out on the roads today, and this one has 110,000 miles on it and some change, and it's been a great car. The powertrain in it has been faultless throughout its life thus far. Never any mechanical problems with this car. It's other than an air conditioner compressor or two, been absolutely sound mechanically. But the electronics have gotten old, and this car, having never really been sheltered, it's time to do some maintenance on it. This is a job I've been putting off for a while. I've been dreading it because this is going to be a very labor-intensive job for me, and I've got some back issues, and also working outdoors, weather permitting. I'm anticipating that, for me at least, this is going to take a few days. So even though it's not the kind of subject that I intended to deal with on this channel, it is electronic related, and since these cars are still so popular, so many people have them, I think there's no way in the world this is the only car that's had the display to go out on it. So it's going to be a long job. These cars have some styling quirks to them that are making the accessibility of the instrumentation on this kind of problematic to get to. Anybody that's ever worked on automobile instrument clusters will relate to what I'm saying. I've done a lot of automobile instrument cluster work, but it's always been somebody else removing and reinstalling it. I've always avoided being the one to remove these assemblies and reinstall them, just because it is such a labor-intensive job, and not any job you can do really. Hard to find a comfortable position doing work like this. But this one is my mother's, and even though I don't do removal and installation for general customers, this is one where I'm going to tackle the whole thing by myself. Some notes about this video I just want to get into right up front. This is going to be a very long video, but it just is what it is. I'm including it here because it might help other people. I'm going to be using this Chilton's book. I always have a Chilton's as much as I can for my cars and others in the family. But I'm going to be using this as a guide to get into all of this, the assembly and disassembly. A note to everybody, I'm not going to be following this absolutely to the letter. Not absolutely to the letter. Where I feel like I am going to make variations on some of this to maybe try to find a shortcut, or on the other hand, just using my past experience from way back years ago when I did used to tear into jobs like this a lot deeper. I have been this way a few times before, but just never on a car this modern, and never on a car with airbags. Everybody, the supplemental restraint system on modern cars like this is to be taken very seriously. There is a danger of injury, and I'm going to make every effort to circumvent all the dangers that the supplemental restraint system pose in all of this. It's a different world now, working on cars that have airbags in them, because they can, if you make a wrong move, they can deploy and they can cause injury. And a note about this car, back some years ago, it was time to service the airbags in this one, and they gave my mother the option to either service them and bring them up to date, or to have the airbags disabled, and she opted to have them disabled. So this is a car where the airbags have been disabled by an authorized factory servicer. Your car might be different, and you need to be very careful about airbag systems in these cars. They have, and I've been witness to it a couple of times, airbags deploying, and they're not quiet. They are very much like a shotgun going off inside the cabin of the car when they go off. One time I was just less than 30 feet away from a traffic accident, a little fender bender, where the airbags deployed in one of the vehicles involved in that accident, and it made me jump from better than 30 feet away. I didn't even know what had happened. The actual wreck didn't hardly make any noise at all, but I honestly thought somebody had shot off a rifle or something. So airbag systems are to be taken very, very seriously, and do not take the way that I go about this job in this video as the absolute way to do it. Study your own vehicle, and by all means adapt where necessary. The big styling quirk about these cars is just how formidably deep the instrumentation is in these. We have a very, very deep dash panel in these. I mean, really. Just laying a yardstick up here on top of this, all the way up here from the windshield back to right there. I mean, look at that. That is really just about all of 28 inches back that the dash panel in this car. Wow. Let's see, from right, get my hand right here. Let's see if I can come straight up. Yeah, just shy of 28 inches back that the dash in this car extends back. That is a very problematic styling quirk of these cars. So this video is going to be mainly for everybody just in general who has instrumentation problem in a modern vehicle, how to remove it, and just show that once all of this is out, really just how simple the problem can be to repair these and not have to buy a new one. But a lot of this video is going to be also about this model in particular, and I'm going to try to show as much as I can of everything that I have to go through just to access all of this. In a right world, we've got a seam running right along here, and you can see that that's a separate piece that comes up and goes all the way around. And in a right world, we would be able to just pop this out, slip a blade up under here, and just pop all of this out and directly access the speedo, temp gauge, and gas gauge assembly. But not so much. There is, I've already felt around and looked around, and there is no getting this trim piece out without breaking it all to pieces, causing damage, which we don't want to do. So alternatively, we're going to have to pull out everything from right here so y'all can have a view of where I'm at here. Everything, all of this coming all the way up and wrapping all the way around in back of this, all the way up to just right there underneath the windshield and around and to here. All of that's going to have to come out. The reason for that is this piece right here has a tongue about that deep that actually extends down under this part of the dash right here. And why do they make them like this? Well, it's all about aesthetics and hiding screws. Somewhere along the line, automobile manufacturers decided that it was just not pretty to have any screw heads or anything exposed, and they want everybody to believe when they sit down in their cars, you know, that somehow all of this just magically happened, and cars are not held together by screws and nuts and bolts. So when they build these cars, they go to great lengths basically just to hide all the screw heads. So the screws for this assembly right here are hid down below this. The screws for all of this are concealed behind all of this, and there are just no screw heads or anything visible anywhere, and it makes for very labor-intensive disassembly on these cars. To show you just basically how far back, I mean way back here behind this goes, let me get out, see if we can spot it through the windshield. There it is. There it is, y'all. Right there. Just wrapping right on around. All of this is going to have to come out. I've been putting this job off as long as this was dim and as long as it was not too bad intermittent. I've been putting this off for a long time now, for good reason. But now it's upon me to do this, so I'm gonna try, like I said, just use my video here on this one as a guide. Don't take it as law about the way to work on this model car or this problem in particular, just in general, because every different model car and truck is going to be different, and just the first half of this video is going to be about accessing all this in this specific model. Okay, let's get started. While I strongly recommend having a service manual handy, the service manual for this car can make all this look very deceptively complicated, because you get into referring from one chapter to another chapter to another, and you kind of get things, it can make you kind of swimmy headed trying to get started on all of this. And it's taken hours of me studying the Chiltons on this and making careful notes and everything as to how to proceed on this car. So basically, here we go for a 2008 Honda Civic. Here's where we begin. And this is, again, this is just for this car in particular. Yours may be different. Down here, right below the steering column, we got a seam right here, kind of above the gas pedal. And we've got another seam over on this side. This is the lower panel below the steering wheel, which on earlier models was divided into two pieces. But on this one, it's just one piece. And apparently this thing just snaps out, as best I can tell. But it snaps in very firm, so you're going to have to come down here. I'm right below the steering wheel, and I'm just going to start right here, and you're going to have to kind of tug firm to reach up in there and find the edge of it, and just start tugging firm, and it snaps in basically, best I can tell. You might have to feel for the snaps. There we go. All right, we got one snap loose right here. I'm going to bring my hand along, and there we go. All right, now we're loose right here. And I'm coming back over to this side, and I think I'm about right on top of that snap. Okay. You're going to have to be kind of careful not to, there we go. All right, see, that just snapped out. We are snapped out all the way. Now on this side right here, let y'all see where I'm at. Okay, now I'm going to bring my hand right up here, and we're going to pull again and again, and Then I'm going to get right here. I'm trying to be very careful not to damage or break any of these snaps, because I want all of this to go back just as firm as it was originally. So okay, here we can see where the snaps were. They were right here, 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 up here next to the steering column right there, and then over here, and over here, and another one right here. All right, and there it is. There she be. It's looking like it's going to rain here, and well, I already knew this was going to take multiple days, but there we go. First job done. And now that that's off, we can see we've got a screw head right here. And now I'm going to have to get the manual and search around and remind myself where everything is to start on the upper panel. But we see we got a seam right here, just behind the key. And we've got another seam coming up right here, all the way, and then running across all the way to right there. And unless I'm missing my guess, these knobs I think will have to come off, but let me remind myself and get back to y'all. You do want to be very careful not to damage anything disassembling these things, but if you do notice that these actual snaps that actually compress in all around here, notice they appear to be a replaceable part. Moving on. Okay, now we're into something that the manual does not give tremendously good illustrations on. I've had to do some figuring on this. This is a 2008 Civic. So on this one, we just have this one screw to remove right here. And there it is, so you know where I am. We're going to take this screw out. Some models here above the tachometer will have one or two, the manual shows two screws up here above this, which since this is a 2008, they're saying that the 2006 and later ones do not have. And so look for two screws up above the tachometer if on the chance yours might have them. And then they talk about, when we get over here, get my finger out of the shot, they talk about just gently prying a loose right here, this lower section. Now notice, I was talking about knob removal and everything. It looks like all of this section right in here, the radio and climate control and everything, can be left alone. So that's why it pays to always have a manual and check again, because these manuals are covering so many different models and variations. But I've just got here a standard trim removal tool, and this is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to try to wedge it anywhere inside this seam here, because they'll just scratch everything up and cause a bunch of scarring to try to, you know, even get inside of this seam, so I'm not even going to do that. Instead, and this is according to the manual, I am going to release the steering, and I'm going to drop the steering down to its lowest adjustment in order to get as much clearance right here as I can. And that is a step that is inside the Chiltons. You'll notice that thus far, like that just went out, I have not disconnected the battery in this car. If it becomes necessary later, if I deem it necessary, I absolutely will. But right now I'm just removing trim. That's all I'm doing. I'm not into any wiring, and I'm going to be very, very careful when I do this not to get into any wiring. The manual does talk about drivability issues occurring with the electronics on these cars if the battery is disconnected for any length of time, and this car has never had the battery disconnected for any longer than just a few minutes. Every time I've ever put a battery in this car, I've had the new battery ready to go, and I've had everything prepped and ready. So every time I have ever replaced a battery in this car, I've always just had it set up so I could disconnect the old one, lift the old battery out, get it out of the way, reach and grab the new battery, plop the new battery in, and go ahead and reconnect it. The battery in this car has never throughout its life, unless somebody did it, without my knowledge, since it's my mother's car, I've never left the battery on this car disconnected for longer than, just a couple or 3 minutes. In fact, I've always tried to, have everything set up so I could do everything, in under 2 minutes. So, basically pull power off of the old battery, install a new battery, and go ahead and reapply power to preserve all the electronics and, well, the radio settings to keep from having to reprogram the radio and everything. So they don't give, because it's such close quarters here, they cannot give a very good illustration of how to do this part right here. So we're about to discover it together, all right? But the first step is do go ahead and set the steering wheel down to its lowest position. And now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and lock it down there. Grab my screwdriver, and this is a number 2 Phillips head screw, and apparently the only screw on this one from all the studying I've done that needs to come out to remove this assembly. So come on out of there. There you go. There it is. Okay, now I'm going to reach back here and just see if I can tug and get this to unsnap. Let's see if it will. Oh, there it went. There it went. Right there. There it went. All right, this side's loose. Okay, over here, rather than risk scarring all this up, I'm going to try to put the hook on the trim removal tool just back here. Wait a minute. There it went. All right, I was able to do that with my finger. See? There we are. Okay. So now we're loose right here. And we're loose over here. All right. So, I'm just gonna see if I can tug and pull at this. I don't know if I can do this part one-handed, y'all, but I'm gonna try to for y'all. I'm just gonna try to see if I can tug and pull at this and get this to come on loose. And it seems to be coming a little bit, but oh, it is in there tight. mighty tight. But I really don't want to scratch any of this up. Let me see if I can set y'all up somehow for a better view. I am going to go ahead just to keep up with it. And this one screw I've taken out, I'm just going to start it back up in here just to keep up with it, because everybody knows how screws will get lost if you're not. I like to just start them back in on these jobs. There we go. All right, here we go. Okay, the manual talks about a retainer pin being down here, which I have not seen yet. But they talk about remove the retainer screw, which we've already done, and then pry this out, and then carefully remove the panel like that's all that there is to it. All right, that was me on the horn. Come on. All right, it gave a little then. There we go. There we go. Woo! Don't know how this is supposed to go. I've got a... Oh, there we are. There we are. Okay, it comes up from the back. There we go. There we go. There we go. We got it. We got it. And then I guess we're just supposed to give it a good Wigglesworth to get it up and out of here. But let me show y'all something before I go any further on this. Okay, we'll walk on around here. And our lights are on. So the note I want to make is specifically about that very thing. You're not pulling forward on any of this when you're taking it out. You can't pull forward when you're removing all of this, and the reason for that is you're blocked, like my finger blocking the shot, but you're blocked by your wiper switch right here, and you are blocked by your turn signal and lights on this side. So this whole panel right here has to basically be pulled forward enough to unsnap it, and then wiggled out from the top, because you will not be able to pull it past your steering column levers. All right, here we go for all the marbles. All right, there's one side, and then here is this side, and here is where we have got some wires to disconnect. Okay, let me see if I can wiggle out of here and do that. Okay, here we go. Right there. Right there. Plugging in. Right here. Right here. That is the plug connector for all of these buttons right here. Your select for miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Your trip odometer right here. And I think panel brightness right here. But that'll have to be unplugged in order to get all of this out. Now, let me get our lights turned back off. Bingo. Okay, there we are. One more step out of the way. And with all of that gone, we see we're finally getting down to the gritty nitty of all of this, which notice, all right, here's the snap fittings right here. I don't believe I broke those. I think it's actually made like that. I don't see any debris anywhere where anything broke, so there we are. Snaps on that assembly would be, I guess, right here, here, here. Let's see, making sure, okay. Here next to the steering column, have another snap fitting here. And then here, here. And then coming down this side, right here, and right there, somewhat problematically, but we got it done. Okay, and now I'm seeing a depressing sight, because it does look like now that maybe it's looking like there's a tongue and groove fitting right here going into all this anyway. All right, back to the books. But not before we give a good old reverse shot of this panel to show exactly, precisely where the snaps are located for all of you. Okay, tachometer right, assembly right here. So coming around from what inside the car would be the right side of the steering wheel, we got a snap there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these will be the ones on top. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm counting 10. If y'all counted different, drop it in the comments and let me know. And again, the plug for the trip odometer and everything, you couldn't see me unsnap it, but it's just a typical Molex type connector here. Try not to strain it. Don't ever snatch on the wires. Do not snatch on the wires. But here is the release tab for that right here. And it's keyed so it can only go in one way, and there's the release tab. And the release tab was facing up. We'll give another shot of that, even though light's starting to wane out here today, and I might have to wait until I get more light to continue this, but finger out of the shot, Pierce. But anyway, here's the plug, here's the trip odometer and panel light dim bright assembly right here. And there we go, right there is where the right here at my fingernail, the corner of my Brooks Hobby Shop manicure fingernail, right there is where the snap goes in the tab I was just showing you on the plug. Alrighty. One other quick note. There is no damage right here. This is the way the car was built to allow the top snaps on that assembly to go through. Sometimes I have to catch my breath and look again to see the obvious. The snaps I pointed out to you actually go in down below this. There they are, right there. One snap goes in, pushes in right here, and another one pushes in right here. That'll help anybody wanting to get one of these apart, and also going back together with them. And we've got another one right here, and you can see it's kind of got a cutout right there, like they didn't quite mold it right, so they had to do some trimming and all right there to get that to work. But this car was bought back in October of 2007, so it would have been one of the earlier ones, and on later ones they probably changed that molding and corrected some of this. But here's another snap receptacle right here, and then coming back across from these two, there's the top one there, and on down. So, what adventure can we get into now on this? I don't know, but I'm speculating that the glove box and all might have to come out in order to get this lower panel right here out, in order to facilitate getting all of this right here for the radio, the entertainment system, and climate control out. And that's just as well, because there's printed circuits back behind all of this as well. And since cracked solder joints on printed circuits are going to inevitably be the problem up here, it's just as well, you know, to have to pull all of this out and go ahead and test all of this and be certain of all of this anyway. So while I'm into the display up here for the speedometer, temp, and gas gauge turn signals, we'll also look into all of this and just touch up any solder connections and check everything out on all of this as well, because this is a big job, and certainly it's more labor intensive than I like, and for that reason I believe it is always best when you get into a big job like this, be as thorough as you can be. And I hope to only have to come this way one time throughout the life of this car. Well, the rain came in typical South Georgia fashion. Blew in really quick. Everything turned really dark, hot and humid, and it came a real gully washer, complete with high winds and hail. And typical of my luck, the 2008 Civic is parked under the shelter, which, as you can see, didn't provide a whole lot of protection. And the new 2018 is parked behind it, out in the hail. Fortunately, it wasn't a bad hailstorm. So, but anyway, that's typical of the way things go for me. Anyway, let's get back to this. The rain came up and really stopped my show here. Chased me inside before I knew what had happened. Okay, now we're where Honda really knows how to hurt a man. Fortunately, I won't be the first one hurt. As I said earlier in the video, the airbags in this car were disabled by a factory servicer at one time, some years ago. And down here, we can see a little sign of where they were prying on this. And I followed their lead, and right here we see the result. This right here, y'all, I'm a real channel, so I'm gonna give this to you, warts and all. This is me a while ago trying to beat that rain and trying to work in spite of it. Right here, right here, right here. All right through here is me trying to pry out and unsnap the entertainment system and climate control unit from this car. This is the reason I do not typically do this work. In fact, hardly ever do I touch anything like this for a customer. I hate that this happened on my mother's car, but it's a 2008, so I'll just have to clean this scarring up the best I can. Anyway, the manual does not give clear representation of how to remove all of this. And they don't give it in clear representation in the pictures, and they don't give it in the written descriptions either. They made mention of two retainers down here in the middle pocket, which, if I can get down here, you see we just don't see them. Retainers would mean screws, but they're not here. But right here, right along my nail here, because I had to, after I realized I was perpetrating an atrocity here, I went back to the manual, and with a magnifying glass I looked and looked and looked, and there is a panel here. There are no screw heads, but here in the central pocket there is a panel that has to come out, and y'all are just going to have to trust me on this, because it's too dark down in here for me to get any good shot of it. There's just not enough light out here, but right here you can kind of see it. So I'm going to use a putty knife, and I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to pry some right there. There it went. And then over here on the other side, if we scoot along, there we are. Right here. This is it's practically invisible while it's in there. It's that, the seam on it is that tight, but here's your proof. It is there. In Chilton's, when they're talking about retainers, they're generally talking about screws. And so now I'm going to explore with you, now that this is out, are there any screws up in here? And I'm nut. Well, I couldn't get on it with the camera in my phone, not even remotely. But after you take that little concealment panel out, they are just right up, literally right up inside of here. Just right up in there. They're two 8mm hex head, looks like, in the most inaccessible place on earth. I can honestly say these will probably be the two most ill-placed screws I might ever remove in my life, because they are just got the center console here, practically no way to even can't even really lay down across the floorboard in this to get at them. I'm going to try to get y'all a shot of them if I can, but probably my phone's going to block this. But if I can just anyway get a service light position here to where y'all can even remotely see up in there. Okay, and the phone cut out. Okay, there we go, right there. There we go. There's one of them right there. See, it is just literally right up there inside where that concealment panel was. Got one over here on the left, and then somewhere over here on the right, if I can get a shot of it. There it is. There it is. Whew! Whew, boy. Okay, I think I'm going to use a 1/4" ratchet with a universal here, but time will tell. Okay, let's see if this can actually go easier than it looks. Probably not. Probably not. Can't even see. Oh, can't even see what I'm trying to get at, hardly. There is a point at which things become kind of senseless, and I think we have about hit that point here. Oh gosh. Got my hands blocking the light. And my glasses are blocking everything. So let me see if I can get this lever out of the way. Man. I'm gonna switch the car on. Get our happy dinging noise going. First gear and parking brake. And now we're stuck with that. But hey, I am working on a live patient here, y'all, so bear with me. Could they have made this any harder to get to any kind of way? Any kind of way? I don't think so. Okay, I don't know what y'all are seeing. I'll find out later. But I'll go and try to put the socket on. Alright, where'd it go? Right there. Are you on there? It's gonna be my last job for tonight. Just getting these screws out, if I'm lucky. Things I get into. I don't even know if I'm on that screw. Don't believe I am. Don't believe I am. Oh, can y'all see? I can't. If I'm on it, it's already loose. But now I'm off again. Will you hush? Why do we have to have that ruckus? I mean, really, why? Why do we have to have that ruckus? I believe it is actually turning without even needing the ratchet. I see some threads, so all right, here we are. There's one. Hope my camera didn't blur all of that, because I'm sure not about to reshoot this. How do I get it on here? It says you light again, dears. Come on. Where is it? Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Kind of. Oh yeah, I'll be editing some things. All right, down in the floorboard now. Come outside the car. I still can't see. Well, maybe. I'm about ready to leave. I don't need here. So, just trust me. When we come back, I got this one. Okay, I can honestly say That is the most insane screw removal, just strictly because of how they were placed and where they were placed, I have ever done in my life. Had to switch the car on, and had to have the car on to disengage the lock on the gear shift to pull it down into first gear. Had to recline the driver's seat and have both my feet in the back of the car, my butt on the back of the seat, and my head hung off down in the floorboard, just laying on my back. And even then, it weren't easy. Okay, honey, let me get you shut off. Oh my gosh. There we go. Yeah. Good luck. An 8mm, a deep 8mm socket would have made it easier. I was using just a standard 8mm socket with a universal joint and a ratchet. Once they were broke loose, I was able to pretty well, they were finger loose, to go ahead and get out. But the length of these, and they're of course slow thread, but yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. Honda, you could have put those in about 1,000 more convenient and accessible places than they were. I wonder if that's the supposed to ensure nobody steals the radio or anything, because God knows they'd have to tear it all to pieces to do that. But anyway, they're out. They're out finally, and it is now dark, and my whole upper torso is black and blue. So maybe I'll include this in the video, maybe I won't. I probably will. But anyway, like I said, we're a real channel here. Best advice, have a deep, long 8mm socket and a 1/4 inch ratchet. That'll make it easier. But absolutely nothing is going to make it easy. That right there is wild. That's crazy. And it's dark and I am pooped, and we're going to take this up more in the daytime. Oh, mercy. And the daytime brings more wind and rain and heat all day long, making for pretty impossible to video conditions here, even under a shelter. The noise has just been oppressive up here above me today, so I'm getting a late start. But that's springtime in Georgia, y'all. I did take this opportunity, since I couldn't get any work done here so far today, to go and buy an 8mm deep socket, in the hopes that this will make the reinstallation of all this easier. Really wish I'd had this to begin with. I feel like an 8mm deep socket will work a whole lot better than this deal right here. Just a note, and I learned it in fine style last night. A universal makes for a very poor socket extender, so do have an 8mm deep socket before you attempt this. I am officially making that recommendation. And by all means, do also remember these 2 screws and the absolute catastrophic location of them, because you will not budge this panel without them, and you'll get into another mess like I created right here, trying to just pry out a little bit on this, and gosh, I hate that happen. If this was a customer job, right here, things like that, you're entering lawsuit city. That's the reason I don't do these types of jobs for customers. But anyhow, it's late in the day, and I'm going to try to at least get this removed as gently as I can, and maybe access finally, at long last, the speedometer, temp, and fuel gauge assembly up in the top of the dash. The service book makes mention of a locking pin and draws an arrow to it somewhere down in here, and try as I may, even with a magnifying glass, I haven't caught sight of it, but maybe it'll show itself once I start trying to get all of this out and disconnected. Probably will. Or on the other hand, given that the airbags in this car were disabled some years ago, maybe they never put that locking pin back in. So presumably, after looking at all this the best I can in the car, and also referring to the manual, this ought to be ready to come out now. But I'm not anticipating it's going to be an easy job. Since I don't see a locking pin down here, but by all means check for one on yours, I'm going to try to just hook my hand down low behind here and just start tugging and see if all this will pull loose. So wish me luck, and we'll see what happens here. Because all this stuff really, it does snap in so tight till... Okay, it gave a little bit. Okay, we got a snap right there that is pulling out. And I'm just hooking my hand. I've got the steering wheel unlocked on its elevation so it can pivot up and down. And I'm just going to try and see if I can keep my hand hooked back here, and got the position past the wiper switch. Okay, there it went. There it went. And the manual says carefully pry out on this. Okay. We are actually... Hey. It's been a long road getting here, but maybe we are finally... maybe we're finally here. Okay, back on this side, if I can... Okay, that's feeling mighty loose now. Let's see, get on this side. Okay, we're loose there. And I still feel something kind of binding it over here. If I could... we can see right here where the air conditioning vents are coming loose. I might have to refer to the good old tripod. I think I will, to get this out. Quick note, the windshield wiper switch might be in your way. but we're about to find out here, at least on this one. There we go. We still got our anti-theft light blinking, so obviously we're going to have some wires to disconnect as this comes out. So I'm just going to try to do that as carefully as I can. Yes, the windshield wiper switch is definitely in my way. Ooh. And look at there. Let me give y'all a view of this. We've got the radio and all coming out here. Which is a good thing because, let's see, I can't get my camera where y'all can really see it, but I was a bit worried about when I go to reinstall this, lining up the CD tray and all of these buttons if the radio had stayed behind back here in this hole. There we are. There's a better shot for y'all, and maybe for me later on. Let's see, get down here. There we can kind of see the lower plugs on that. Don't know if I can reach this one while holding the phone or not, but I'm gonna try. And by the way, I'm staying well clear of the steering wheel. Here's our locking tab right here. I'm gonna press in on that. And, ooh, there it goes. All right, that's one down. And then down here below it, we've got this one. I'm staying clear of the steering wheel because if an airbag deploys, I'd rather it not break my neck. Okay, we've got those. Now I might as well try for the main one. Oh no, that one's not going to come. I'm going to have to, let's see, this one's a little different arrangement. You got a locking tab, you got to press in and then pull the plug. Oh, and I can't get it. Maybe I did a little bit. There it went. There it went. Right there. There we go. People wonder why labor is so expensive on these types of jobs. I'm here on trying to get a shot of the back of the radio here. Anybody wondering why labor charges are so expensive on jobs like this, just look at this video and you'll see it. Anyway, on these plugs, you got a locking tab right here that's not part of the plug itself. It's part of the socket. You have to push down on that and then pull these plugs out, and I'm going to do that out of y'all's sight if y'all don't mind. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. And I'm not being down on Honda, y'all, because this has been an excellent car for my mother. I mean, it has been just an absolutely excellent car for her. And I'll go ahead and show you that now this is out. Here's why it has to come out. If you don't care to remove this entire assembly, if all you're trying to do is just get at the speedo and everything, look at this lip right here. You see it comes all the way across and across and across and around and across all the way to right there. So that's why absolutely all of this has to come out, just to get right here where, again, as I said in the beginning of this video, in a right world, there would just, you know, back in the 60s, cars like the old 69 Ford over there, you just had a couple or 6 screws to pop out, and then you just take all this off and remove it all and have direct access. But that's just not the way they build them now. And it's not just Honda, it's every automobile manufacturer. I'm really not being down on Honda, except for those 2 screws down there in that just horrible location. But let me remind y'all, I'm working on a live patient here who is not only alive but fully conscious. So I'm being very careful about everything I touch here. And if we look down here, you might see a yellow plug right down in there. If I had to mess with anything like that, I wouldn't even, I would definitely disconnect the battery in this car, consult the manual for the full airbag disablement procedure, because all the airbag wiring in this car, if I'm right, is color-coded yellow to identify it. Yellow as in slow down, preferably stop. Yellow as in caution. And I have seen, even though y'all can't see it, some wiring in this car that's fully encased inside bright yellow sleeving, and all of that would be supplemental restraint system or SRS related. And if I was in any of this working down and around any of that, I would most definitely make damn sure that the supplemental restraint system, or for the Southerners and others out there like me, the airbag system was fully disabled on this car. Anyway, let me get this out and then we'll do a backside view of it. Okay, actually, the locking tab is not part of the socket. It is actually part of the plug. There it is. All right, there we are, right there, if y'all can see it. Comes down and molded into the plug right here. And then this one, the one next to it on the radio and CD player, has the same arrangement. This third one right here, it goes into the entertainment system, is a little bit different. On this one, it is actually this tab right here on the side that has to be plugged in, that has to be depressed, I mean, to get this one loose. So, after all of those, and let's see, go ahead and give a shot of these right here. Same arrangement again with it. Boy, count the contacts on that. This is going into the climate control, y'all. And so are these two right here and right here. And this one actually has that locking tab. By the time it's plugged in, it's actually underneath it on this one. So this one's going in oriented like this. And well, this one's going in, I reckon, oriented like that. Anyway, all of this just to get to a Speedo, y'all. All of this. All right, let's get a good shot of this now. I really wish it hadn't rained pretty much all day today. All right, there we are. There we are. Radio up here and climate control here, and then let's see, right here, all right, that big plug goes into the climate control. This one right here and this one right here, these other two, the blue and green, let's see, what were they going to? All right, they were going to the hazard light and actually the passenger side airbag indicator. Okay. But y'all just saw me remove all this with the battery still connected. So, again, you know, use this video as a guide, but you copy what I do exactly at your own risk. Let's see, our plugs, our snaps are right here, 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 and this is on the top side above the vent, and then down here, right here, right here. Maybe a little snap right there. Yeah. Right here. Looks like somewhere along the way one got left behind. I wonder if it's still in there. I'm gonna have to look for one of these still wedged in there for this. And then we have another metal snap right here. All right. Did I leave one still in here somewhere? Don't believe I did. Maybe that was the factory servicer who disabled the airbags, who left all of that. Anywho's, as I indicated earlier, you can see all these are held in. Here's climate control assembly and everything, and it's held in by number 2 Phillips here, there and there. All of that's printed circuit board, y'all. And so inside the radio and CD player unit are the connections for where these plugs plug in here. So y'all just be aware that while all of this is out, I'm going to go ahead and pull it all, and I'm going to look at all of it because, like I said last night, I really don't want to have to come this way on this car but one time, hopefully throughout its life. Wow. Just, wow. And I guess in the words of Esther Raleigh right here, across to right here, you know, damn, damn, damn. But anyway, at least it's in a place that's relatively inconspicuous. This on this side would have been done back when the airbags were disabled. But still, that doesn't excuse what happened here. I'm going to be kicking myself for a long time over all of this. But, just study my screw up, and now you know how to avoid it if you do one of these yourself. The two screws down here were coming up through this frame, and right here and right here is where they came up through. And you see it's got some slip fittings there, but they're not where you can slip it out. They're only where you can slip it in. I really think when they built these cars, they assembled all of this dash and everything, maybe independently on the assembly line, and then just at a certain point, connected it all to the firewall and mounted it in the car. That's about the only logic I can think of as far as why, you know, how cars end up being built like this, where there's such heck to get apart. Anyway, moving on. Okay, the manual is showing 4, but I'm only counting 3 upper instrument panel fasteners to get all of this off. And the ones I'm seeing are right here. And then if I can zoom it, we've got one right there above the tachometer, and then one right here in the corner. Now the book is showing another one hid right along through here somewhere, and that's scaring me because I cannot feel it or find it anywhere. Maybe this particular car only has 3, but how's that for screw concealment, y'all? Anyway, once these 3, nay, probably a 4th one hid here are removed, theoretically we should finally be able to access the Speedo temp gauge and fuel gauge assembly. So here we go. using a screwdriver I've had ever since I was a kid here. Exolite Service Master. Just going to loosen these and then see if I can get them out without any tragedy occurring. Like a screw falling down into the works. Exolite in your lies. Take my hand. Off to Never Never Land. Sometimes I have to remind myself that this work is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an adventure. If the service book was just like, you know, inside of one chapter, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, how to do this without bouncing us back and forth from chapter to chapter, this wouldn't have to be such a devil of a job, but the car is made the way it is, and the manual is laid out the way it is. Okay, so let me get all of this out of the way. And we'll see if finally, mercifully, at long last, all this will come out, or if there is in fact a fourth screw hid here somewhere. Gosh, I hope not. Please let this go right. I don't think I've ever had just another disassembly to put me through as much as this. In fact, I'm sure I haven't. Okay, so far so good on that. All right, right here, let me show y'all this. I'm getting my walking in on this video as well. One side to another, one side to another, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, right here. This was stubborn because there's a bit of a cup fitting right here where it's hooking down below that. I had to kind of pull toward me some on that to no, don't you snap back down, don't you do that. Okay, but I had to pull it toward me some to get a lip on this to actually come up past this hump right here. So there we go, right there. And oh, let's see here. Try right here. Oh, that's feeling like that is still just screwed down somewhere. All right, let me try right here. On the outside corner. All right, we've got it there. And it feels like, if y'all can see, this looks like another place where that lip's coming down over a hump right here. I'm hoping that's what it is. More walking. Okay, I'm gonna pull forward. There it went, right there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you. There we go. There we are. See? Easy when you know how. Wow. Y'all can just walk with me. All right, there it is, y'all. There she be. Finally. At long last. There's the top of the speedometer, turn signal, temp gauge, and fuel gauge assembly. Looking at this, there is no glass or anything in there. But why we couldn't just snap all of that out, I don't know. Maybe if you have the right tool you can, but you see we got just for this trim piece running across, all the way across here. Just for that, we got, starting on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then do these screws have to come out as well? Somebody else can try that way and let me know. All right, I'm gonna run this inside and add it to the collection, and I'll be right back. This one only had 3 screws, y'all, and here's your proof. Right here, above the tachometer, right here, and then right here. So the book is showing 4, but this one at least only had 3. And now we've got just that simple 1 cable running up to the point of this whole operation. Now, at times when the sun has been shining on this, with me driving this car, I've been able to see that the actual gauges and all are still functioning. This is strictly a problem where it's not backlit anymore, so this is strictly an illumination issue on this. But it appears, without me looking, we've got 1, 2, 3, number 2 Phillips head to get out to finally access this. I wonder if I'm going to need the handle to do this. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Get right there, and get turned around. I use the Filmora editing app, and I think there's a limit as to how many clips actually can be put on that out before we run into another video, and I'm trying to stay below that limit. I think that was what I hit one time. Not necessarily a time limit, but a clip limit. So that's the reason I'm doing so much here unedited now, because I really did not believe, I knew this was going to be a tough job, but I did not anticipate it being as tough as what it has been. Okay, so come on out, honey. There's two. And here's three. It's going to break my heart if I have to break this up into multiple videos, part 1, part 2, part 3. I don't want to do that. What I had in mind on this was having it all start to finish. But will that be possible? But here we are, finally at long effing last. Right there. Right here. The electronic part of this video at long last. I'm anticipating right here where this plug goes in to find cracked solder joints on a double-sided board inside of this. And some people might say, gee, this is a lot to go through without just replacing the whole entire assembly, buying a new one. Well, y'all, this is a 2008 Honda, and chances are, if you buy one, it's not going to be new. It's not going to be a factory part that you buy. It will be, but it'll be one that's been refurbished in the same manner that I'm personally going to refurbish this one. And years ago, we used to sometimes deal in refurbished boards for televisions and everything. And I used to always find things, you know, that they had missed. I used to deal a lot with PTS and everything, but I soon learned, you know, to check behind them, because when it came to cracked solder joints, they would only repair the main ones that were cracked, causing the immediate problem, and then they wouldn't go ahead, you know, and do a thorough job and service the whole board for any others, you know, that might be, you know, where they were going to give trouble, you know, in the near future. And so even after sometimes modules were sent off to PTS and returned, I would still end up going over the whole board. So even if I was to buy this entire assembly, which probably doesn't even cost that much, I haven't even priced one, but yeah, I mean, it's labor. That's what the bill is you pay on jobs like this when you take one to a dealership or any other shop to get this type of work done. I haven't priced one, but I'm thinking really I can do a more thorough job on this, on the solder joints and everything myself. I think I can be at least as thorough as any of the people remanning these assemblies can be. So finally, now at long last, there we are. There we are. Have to tear one down this far just to get to that. But by all means, if you're doing it yourself and you're not proficient at soldering, and you know, go ahead and get another one and put it in. But if you're interested in trying to repair these yourself, stick around because finally we've gotten to the part of this video that's really kind of my forte. So we're about to finally move this operation inside. Well, y'all, the time has come for me to face reality that this video has already gone more than 2 hours, and I'm going to have to end this one here if I'm going to include all the details on servicing the electronics of these cars that I want to. I'd envision a video where everything would be all in one, and having an index where people could just, jump to whatever parts of the video were of most interest to them and what they were doing. But that's not going to happen because there's just absolutely no way. I knew this would be a tough job, but I did not foresee that it was going to take all of 2 hours of video time just basically to get into this thing. So, I'm going to start a collection on my channel, and I'm going to call that collection Automotive to cover projects like this. And all the videos on this car for the speedometer and temp and fuel gauge and the climate control system and the radio and everything, all the videos on this car will be included in that collection. But working on the electronics in these cars, like this unit right here, which you'll see I've already got disassembled. I've already started the second video. But this deserves to be a video unto itself, and not, just piled in, on top of the basic disassembly and everything that we've had to go through here. So I'm going to end this video right here and divide this thing up into chapters. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Might even end up calling it the 2008 Civic Saga. Because, wow, what a job it's been just to get everything removed from this car. But yeah, the electronics, reworking these assemblies, it is possible for the do-it-yourselfer to manage these jobs and not have to buy new assemblies. And one day, these things won't be available. You just won't be able to find them. And should one day somebody have one of these cars and be interested in maybe restoring one, I think it'd be helpful for people to have some videos out there to refer to on the servicing of all the electronics in these cars, because the powertrains are going to hold up just fine. We won't have in the future engine problems and transmission problems so much on these cars. These cars will hit the dump eventually because of electronic trouble, just because of instrumentation trouble. So I want to be as thorough as I can be in showing how to rework all the electronics in these cars, just using this one of my mother's as an example. So I've got to face reality. There is just no way, without having a 6, 8, or 10 hour video here on YouTube, to include everything that needs to be included here. So I'm not even going to try to do it. I'm going to break this thing up into chapters. This will be chapter 1, and again, all these videos will be included in the automotive collection that I'm going to start because of this project. In electronics work, we get into a lot of this stuff. People have brought me instrument clusters that they've removed and reinstalled themselves many times, and I've done those. This is just an opportunity for me to show everything on this particular model Honda. So I hope y'all will tune in to see the rest of this, because I've decided one video dealing with just this assembly right here, because reworking the Speedo assembly and everything is going to rightfully be deserving of a video all to itself. So will the videos upcoming for the climate control and entertainment system. We're going to have a video about servicing all of the climate control and entertainment system in these cars. And also, yeah, since I'm right here at it, I'm going to pull the tachometer and all out of this, and we'll have a video just on the tachometer and other gauge assembly here also. But I think it's, having come this far, if these videos are going to be of use to anybody, I need to take my time and really focus on doing each video for each part of this project right. So sadly, this video will not go the way I thought it would, where we will just quickly disassembled all of this, which just is not possible on these cars, and then serviced the speedometer assembly and checked it all out and everything. You'll see the finished project, in a future video, and see how it all works. If I do end up buying a new one, you will know it. I'm a real channel. I'm not going to fudge anything like that. I will not buy an assembly and put it in and claim that I fixed this old one. The next video will be dealing exclusively with servicing the speedometer, temperature gauge, and gas gauge assembly for this 2008 Honda Civic. And I will not fudge it. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. A lot of the time I win, but if I don't win on this one, you will know it. I'll be absolutely upfront and honest about it. But I think this is an opportune place, now that we've got it all finally disassembled, to end this video. So I hope some people out there, some do-it-yourselfers, or some daredevils, as the case may be, will hang around to learn how to rework all these electronics. Because y'all, in the future, if these cars are going to survive in any form, eventually it's going to be down to reworking this stuff. You're not going to be able to buy it without paying a premium for it, at least. You'll end up having to rework all of this yourself. So, in the interest of giving as much detail and everything, which is what I pride myself on here, as I can, I'm going to end this video right here. And again, one more time, these videos will be included in an automotive collection if you go to my channel. So the video on the repair of the Speedo and everything, it's already started. You see, I've already got it all pulled out of here. I just snapped it all back together to do this little bit right here. But yeah, we'll get into absolutely everything about the 2008 Honda Civics. I about decided these are some of the hardest to service cars that have ever been built. But they are popular. I still see them around here in Georgia, and I know they're still around in other places, and these electronics problems are going to be cropping up on them more and more. And some people out there, who don't, for whatever reason, want to go and buy a new car, are going to be aggravated by this stuff. So I want everybody, if they can, to use my videos, and hopefully I help some people out on these. It's not the point of my channel, but This one right here is a family car, so I am going to include this one here. Anyway, until next time, y'all take care out there, and one day people might actually collect these cars. Think about that. But anyway, until then, y'all, please tune in for part 2 of the 2008 Honda Civic instrumentation, speedometer repair, and I'll see y'all then. Brooks Hobby Shop, we're out.